Welcome to an episode of Matt Stream Outside on YouTube. Today we're taking a first look at the Bass Pro Shops hiker biker tent. So I'm going to start working on getting it set up and we'll go from there. First things first, this is a new tent and we got some snow. So I'm using a tarp to put down to protect the floor of the tent. Because it's a little windy, I'm going to have to stake the tarp out. Alright, that's not going anywhere. Alright, now I got the tent and the stakes. We're going to go ahead, roll the tent out, and I'm probably going to have to use some guy lines attached to the points on the tent and then stake it out. But we'll see. So first things first is roll the tent. Figure out which end is the door. Alright. End facing the camera is the door, which is what I want, and the end facing me is the vent. This tent is quite a bit shorter than I anticipated, so that's interesting, but we're going to get the guy lines out and go from there. So I'm going to guy out the corners and I'll be back with you. Alright, I got all four corners on the tent guyed out, so I'm going to grab my bag of stakes and I am going to stake it out. Well, stake all four corners out. There's 8 stakes total that come with the tent. corner. We're gonna go to the opposite corner. Through. This part, I haven't needed to use anything as a hammer yet, so hopefully that's good. All four corners are guyed. We'll move on to the next steps in a second. So I believe the first thing is I have a little vent in the back to stake out. I'm gonna do that quickly. This one already has a guy line on it, and I kind of positioned it so that I wouldn't need to tie a guy line on the tiny guy line it has. A pole might go here, I don't know yet. We'll find out. I'm gonna pop this back in my backpack. There is 3 more stakes left because we've used 5. I'm gonna grab the tent poles. So you have 2 of these for the front and a shorty for the back. I put one of the front ones in. It's a bit of a struggle. Now you get to watch me struggle to put this other front one in. You gotta you have a little bottom strap, and then, well, I'll explain it in a minute. Got it. I'm gonna put the short one in the back. Figure out how to do this. I might have to take the stake out. Yeah. Back one's easy. All right. Stake up the front. For that, you have a guy line right here. How they tied the skyline looks to be about one of the strongest parts of the tent. Alright. I'm trying to get a tight pitch. Without breaking it. Oh, I just pulled the back out. Well, we'll go over there and fix it. Drop this back off right here. The back has such a short guy line that it's extremely easy to pull out. Alright, let's try this again. Front came out now. Guess I can't go too mighty with it, so I'm trying to keep that loose. And it's set up a little loose, but should get the job done for now. I'm gonna roll back these doors if I can. So you do have little toggles to roll back the doors. So far, it's pretty nice looking for a $30 tent, but I'm going to bring you guys with me close up and see what we can figure out about it. So we've got a very interesting looking door. It's got a zipper here, and then a zipper there. I would wonder about bugs flying in through that part. The zipper system seems a little, I don't know, strange. But let's go in and take a look. Take off my boots. So my head is in the foot end right now. And even if my head was up where the head end is, it feels quite tight in here because they didn't put any guy out points on the side, which they honestly needed because of wind and stuff. But let's take a look at the seams. The seam across the top is taped. That seam's taped. That seam's taped. The seams on the floor appear to be taped. But, that seam on the back wall appears to not be taped. And the seams on the front door appear to not be taped. Which is something I saw in another YouTube video about this tent. Which is interesting. Very interesting. So we'll have to look on the outside and see if things that cover the door and vent are taped. But I'm going to switch around and bring my head over to the head end. So this is what it looks like with my head in the head end. I cannot actually sit up all the way in here. Small, light backpacking tent, $30. I'm not surprised, but it would have been nice if they gave enough material to at least sit up in here. This is almost kind of more or less a bivvy. But, yeah. So far, very interesting. The walls are a bit concave. You can see the walls are kind of drooping in the wind. That's another reason why I set this up today, because of how windy it is. I wanted to test it out in the wind, and you really wouldn't want to use this on a windy day. The insides are just continuing to get closer and closer. So that's something. I mean, look at that. Wow. Let's get out of here for a minute. Even getting out of this thing is quite a challenge. Especially when they have a guy out rope right above your head. Oh boy. Oh. All right. So, I wanted to check and see if the seam on the vestibule that covers the doors and vent was seam taped to keep water out, and they do not appear to be seam taped. Let's go check the vent. I'm gonna feel it. Nope, that's not seam taped either. So let's go over a couple points of the tent right now. Alright, so let's go over a couple things about this tent. Alright, so let's start with the pros, because I think it's better just to start with the pros. So the color is really nice. At least they kind of ventilated the doors in the front. I don't know, there's, I'll save that for the cons. But, so for the pros, we have the color. We have the fact that at least some of the seams are taped, right? So maybe we could, if we had to, tape some of the seams ourselves and do some waterproofing spray. It's lightweight, very lightweight. It's a $30 tent, right? And it's right around 3 pounds, if not less, Without the bag it comes with, you can get it, I think, more like 2.5. And it really fits inside your pack easily. So now let's go right to the cons. The cons is that there's only 4 stakeout points on the tent. And really what we should see, I believe, is we should see those 4, another 2 in the middle along the walls. We should see a little high out point right here in the middle upper center of the wall that we can run a guy line to and keep the walls from caving in on you in the wind, because this 10-mile-an-hour wind right now, so the walls are very cavey-in-y. So another con, I don't know there's much point. They have a vent in the foot end of the tent, and I don't know there's much point in that, all right? I mean, I think it would make more sense to have vents along the walls of the tent than it would to have vents on the foot end, because that's just a little strange. I would also wonder about the vent on the foot end of the tent making your feet cold when you're trying to sleep. So another con is the tent poles have kind of a weird setup in the front. The back is extremely easy, but the front is a little weird. Obviously, some of the seams are sealed is also a con, because why not just seal all of them? Another con is getting in and out of the tent is very challenging. Very, very challenging. I'm only 5'4", so the fact that it's hard for me to get in and out, that's something. Another con, I feel like I'm forgetting something. I know I am. I don't think I could fit my dog in there with me. I can't sit up. That's another con. But, one of the last cons. If they use just a little bit more material, even to make it just a little bit heavier, so that you could sit up in there, it would be really nice to be able to sit up in there. It ultimately reminds me of some sort of almost bivvy more than a tent. But I wanted to check it out for myself and see what it's like. Oh, I mentioned I watched a YouTube video of it. There was one YouTube video, I can't remember the name, he mentioned it wasn't waterproof, obviously. Probably due to only some seams being sealed. So, the other thing, the other YouTuber, the Outdoor Gear Review channel, a really great channel. He had this, it failed in the rain and got really condensation-y. But I wanted to check it out for myself and see if, maybe they changed it since then. They appear to not have changed it, which is, once again, very interesting. Once again, I'm 5'4", and if I were in a sleeping bag in that, my sleeping bag would be touching the walls, which would not be good with a single wall tent for condensation. That's something to keep in mind. So yeah, this is first setup and look at the Bass Pro Shops Hiker Biker tent. So far, I don't really know what to think about it. I was thinking it could potentially be a modified tent eventually, but I'm not so sure at this point. We'll just have to find out and see what I end up doing with it. Honestly, if you were considering buying this tent, I think for the money, you can find other options. And I think it would even be worth, even though you might want that really lightweight, I think it would be worth it if you had to get a budget tent, to get something by Coleman that's at least a little bit heavy, You know, if you have to sacrifice some weight for a better tent with just a tiny bit more room and more waterproofness, I think you should. This tent honestly kind of reminds me of a toy. So, yeah. That's it for this episode. Thanks for checking out the video. I appreciate all my subscribers. If you want to consider subscribing, if you like fishing, if you like outdoors, camping stuff, gear reviews, you should. Any likes and comments are always appreciated, and most of them will be responded to. Have a great day or night. Thanks for checking out the channel. Oh yeah, I'm gonna pack up. I'm not gonna show you guys that though, because I'm running into issues with space on the camera, so yeah.